Hi, I'm Navneet Bali. I run a hotel business called Live-In. It's a hybrid hotel hostel business, and it's focused on Europe. And I'm trying to grow it now and expand it. And started with the first one in Frankfurt, opened in 2023, had the first full year last year. It's done very well. We are doing 15% better than our competitors, according to RGI statistics, which we get from STR, so they must be right. So basically, when I got into the hostel landscape, it's through a brand called Meininger, which the company I used to work for had acquired. And when I looked at it, they said, is it a hostel or is it a hotel? And there was a lot of confusion about that. And I said, actually, why not call it hybrid? And the reason I did that was two reasons. One, I used to run a hybrid car at home. I'd bought a Prius, and they call it a hybrid. And I said, therefore, this is appropriate. It's a hybrid hotel hostel. It also meant that our customers, as well as our employees, now got it. It's hybrid hotel and hostel. And actually, it has all the elements of a hostel. And in terms of its convenience and so on and so forth, it's shared side, but also has all the qualities of a hotel in it. And that was what the product was. And it's a flexible product, so people can book a room or book a bed. So therefore, you have that flexibility involved in it. And the other thing was, investors didn't like the word hostel. That's what I felt. It wasn't investable. They thought it was a mom and pop kind of, not a very clean, not very good for fire and safety and that sort of thing. That was a hostel. I'm nothing wrong with it, but they didn't think it's something which institutional investors would work. But the moment I called it hybrid and started communicating what it actually was, they got it, that it's a very investable product. It makes more money per square meter, more profit per square meter, as it turned out. And actually, that's what happened. That's the truth. It works very well. So your question is about conversions. Because it's a flexible product, that means you have people who can share the room or have an individual room for themselves, as in a hotel. Therefore, the product itself lends itself to a flexible arrangement of beds. It could be 5 beds or 4 beds or 3 beds or 2 beds. All can be accommodated in one building. So if it's a building, that's an office, for example, for conversion, or a bank, or even I've converted a brewery in Brussels into a hotel hostel hybrid. Therefore, the physical room shapes can be in different dimensions, and yet you can convert them without changing the physical infrastructure of that room. Whereas in a typical hotel, you'd have a very standard cookie-cutter approach. 2 beds, 2 beds, 2 beds, etc. Here you could be flexible. So therefore, it lends to itself to be very flexible. It doesn't have to be ground floor. It can be any part of the building. It doesn't need a name on the door. People normally book through the internet or online. So it's very flexible in terms of being in a mixed-use space, in terms of conversions. From that point of view, it's flexible. I think finding properties is quite, in fact, there's not a challenge because there's lots of ability for converting, for example, office spaces which are running at the moment have difficulty because of what's happened with the work from home market post-pandemic. There's a lot of opportunity for conversions. That's there. I mean, there are sometimes planning rules are a problem when you're converting in some cities, but I think the major issue still remains the valuation issue between what investors are expecting and what sellers are selling for. So there's still a gap between bid and offer, as they call it, the spread. And that has to narrow a little bit for investors to get the returns that they're looking for. But in our model, we are obviously able to give a higher return per square meter. So that makes it easier, if you like, from an investor point of view. But I still think the market itself, particularly in Europe, it's still, there's a gap between the two. And also, yet new developments are not taking place for new projects because I think the funding element, particularly from bank financing, is still not there. But with interest rates coming down, probably that will improve. I think it's the two aspects to it. One is a commercial aspect. I've got a new brand, so I'm exposing it to the market. And so people are getting aware of what Live-In is. So that's what I get out of it, A. B is, of course, meeting other colleagues and other friends who are coming in and getting ideas as to what they're doing. So it's both ways, meeting people as well as industry, as well as also exposing our new brand to the market.